Okay, welcome to Daily 3D Revolve. Today I'm going to be doing a Design Spark mechanical tutorial, and we're going to be going over how to use the Design Spark mechanical tools. We're going to be spending a little time with each of them. I'm not going to go over every single one of them because there's some that I don't use, but we are going to be going over covering about 90% of the tools. Okay, so first of all, we're going to go create a new design. I'm going to change it to plan view. We're going to come up here to design file, to design spark options, and we're going to go to units, and we're going to make sure that that's in inches. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover is the views up here. Up here you have home view, which gives you an orthographic view. Then we have plane view, plan view. I always want to say plane view, but it's plan view, which gives you a flat view. And then we have all our normal views, and I'm not going to click on each one of these. They're pretty self-explanatory. You have an isometric view, you have a top view, bottom view, left view, right view, front view, back, home, and then the plan view again. Okay, now we're going to go over this tool here, which is spin. We'll go ahead and put a little circle there so you can know what it does. Again, self-explanatory. It spins the plane, the drawing plane. Okay, this is a pan, like a camera. It pans to the left, to the right, top, bottom, anywhere you want to go. It'll pan over there. Zoom, pretty much self-explanatory. Zoom in, zoom out. Zoom in, zoom out. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and get rid of that circle. Okay, now we're going to come up here to our actual tools. We have a line tool, and then with each of these tools, each of these sketch tools, you also have a few options down here. In this dialog box here, I don't typically use a lot of these. You can define from center most of these drawing tools, or you can turn on the snap to grid. Sometimes I turn on snap, and sometimes I use define from center, but not on all of them. So the line tool basically it lets you create shapes with the line. So you'll be able to create shapes with this tool. And we can go ahead and pan that over. So that's the line tool. Okay, we're going to go ahead and delete that. And then we're going to come up to our next tool, which is the tangent line tool. The tangent line tool is good if you have particular areas you want to go from, like circles. You can go ahead and use this tool here. This will go from a tangent spot to another tangent spot on the circle. Some of the other programs like Fusion 360, what they'll allow you to do is if your circles aren't tangent, or your lines aren't tangent with the circle, you could click on here and you come up here and hit tangent, and then you could click on the circle and you can make it tangent. But Design Spark doesn't have that feature, so you have to start off using the correct tool to begin with. Okay, so that's going to be your tangent line tool. This is going to be your construction line tool. This is pretty handy to have if you want to create lines, but you don't want to create permanent geometry. You can use the line tool. You can use these. If you wanted to set up a mirror line, you could use that. You can use your construction line. Then you can go ahead and right mouse click on it, set as mirror. So now you can have draw one thing over on the left, it shows up on the right. So that's going to be your construction line. And then later on, if you can get rid of the lines, that's what's nice about them. You just use them as a construction to help with your drawing, and then move on from there. Okay, now we're going to have your rectangle tool. Your rectangle tool, you have similar options down here. You can define from center, and if you do that, wherever you click in the center, it's going to start from there. If you don't click the define from center, your rectangle tool is going to click from the corner, so left to right or right to left. You go up to the top this way or go this way. That's going to be your rectangle tool. This is your 3-point rectangle tool. This lets you specify points. That's handy to have if you, I'll give you an example. Like if you have a square already, we'll define this from center. If you have it square already and you want to go ahead and get your 3-point rectangle tool, and you know you want to go from the center, but you want to go 2 clicks up, you could start there. You could go 2 clicks down, and then you could drag this out. So this is good at determining the centers of stuff, so that would be useful to use here. Select all, we'll delete. Okay, that's going to be that tool. Okay, the next tool down is your ellipse tool, and that's going to always come from the center. So this will be, wherever you click will be your center point. You'll drag out 2.5 there, and then you'll drag up. And then you could also go the other way. You can click, drag up from top way, and then go this way. All right, let's undo that. That's going to be your ellipse tool. This is your circle tool. This is just for drawing circles. All right, and we'll undo that. Now you get your next tool here, which is going to be your 3-point circle. That lets you draw 3 points, so you could specify a point, 1 point there, your next point would be there, and then your third point would pull the circle either over to the lower right or upper left. Okay, that's that tool. Undo. Now we're going to go ahead and get our polygon tool. Your polygon tool creates basically sided objects, a 6-sided object. And then if you want to create more sides, you just tab over to the sides, put in 8, hit enter, and then you got 8. Okay, that's that tool there. Let's go undo. Now you've got your tool here, which is your tangent arc. I use that quite a bit. That's basically going to allow you to draw, if you have two, I don't think that got where I wanted to. Let's undo that. Let's go to draw from here. Okay. So if you have a shape here that you want a tangency from, you're going to go ahead and use that tool. And then you're going to come from here down over to here. Okay, now what's nice about that is you can go ahead and adjust these. So you can adjust these after you've already drawn them. Okay, we'll go ahead and just get that again. So you could put one in here. As long as you make sure that when you're going from one tangent spot, you see those two little green lines right there. They're kind of hard to see, but they're right where the tangent spot is. There's a green line on the left and a green line on the right. As long as you go from green, as long as you make sure that you're going to a spot that's tangent, and you can tell by those two green lines, you're going to be able to adjust the line after the fact. So you could click on it and then you could move it. And that's handy to have if you know your dimension that you need to put in for that arc. Okay, now we're going to go ahead. That's that tool there. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. Now this is going to be your 3-point arch. And the 3-point arch is going to be handy for something if you have a shape like this and you want to create a round circle there. You'll go ahead and get your 3-point arch, and then you'll specify from endpoint, or you click there and then you'll click the endpoint there. As long as you have 180, you'll have a completely half round circle. That's going to be that tool there. And we'll go ahead and delete. Now we're going to come over here to your sweep arc. Now your sweep arc is always going to be specify your dimension, 1.75, click, and now you're going to be able to drag half of a shape, a quarter of a shape. Sorry about that noise, that's the trash guys. So you'll be able to create your pie shapes, and then later on you could come in here and you could add your solid line tool, then it becomes a solid piece of geometry once you extrude it. Select all, we'll go ahead and delete. Yeah, hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and close that door. It's a little bit loud. Okay, sorry about that. Let's get back to this. Okay, so we were talking about the, I think we went over the sweep arc. Okay, now the next line is going to be, the next tool is going to be your spline tool. Spline tool is handy to have if you want to freeform something. And I normally don't have snaps on when I do that. And what you can do is go ahead and just click. Whenever you click a second point, you're able to curve. So this would be, this tool right here is similar to a tool you would use in CorelDRAW or Illustrator, and it would be called your Bezier curve. This is basically just an artistic CAD tech tool. If you want to create interesting shapes, or you want to create custom text, or you want to draw half of something, like maybe like you're going to revolve around a chess piece, then you would use this tool. And what's nice about this is when you click on it again, you get these little nodes. That's what they're called, and you can basically fine-tune these and adjust these. So you could get your shape to be pretty perfect if you wanted it to be. So that's going to be your spline tool. Sometimes I use that, sometimes I don't. It depends. If something is very specific and it's calling for dimensions, I typically tend to not use this. And if it's something is freeformed and it's not calling for dimensions, and there's a little bit more artistic freedom to what you're creating, I'll use the spline tool. Okay, we're going to go ahead and delete that. Okay, that's your spline tool. This is your, this is a point tool, and I don't normally use that, but it's handy. Like I'll give you an example. Like you could turn your snap to grid on, and you could put, I don't know, three or four of these little dots on your drawing area, and then if you want to move something, like say you have this little circle here, you could go ahead and get your move tool, click on that circle, and you could say up to a point, and it will go. So that's pretty handy to have. And then you could also copy this, Control C, Control V, and then you could move it over here like this. Actually, let's get over here. Paste. Alright, so basically you could do the same thing there. You could move up to that point there. So that's what good thing that your point tools can be, your point tool can be used for. And now we'll select all, we'll delete. The next tool is going to be your, this is a face curve, and in order to use that, you basically have to create an extruded part. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we'll draw a circle. We're going to extrude this, and then we're going to spin this. What that tool does, and we'll go to, let's go to the front view. What that tool does is that lets you draw something on a face. So if you click and drag this around, and then you'll have a line there, and then what you can do with that line is you can pull it, and then after that, after you pull that line, you can go ahead and extrude it. Okay, so if you want a shape like this on a cylinder, you can do it with this tool here, face curve. And you can also draw other odd shapes. So if you had like a particular logo or something you wanted to sketch on here, it works a lot like the like your well, figure this out in a second. It works a lot like your spline tool. So you'll get a shape like that, and then you can extrude all of these shapes. Like this. So now you have these two odd shapes on there. Okay, let's do a couple of undos. Let's get back to here, go to the plan view. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the create rounded corners. Create rounded corners is a great tool, can be used to create rounded corners. Basically, you can, if you have a drawing that's like this, and you need to create rounded corners, you go ahead and use that tool, and then you could round all your corners. You could round corners like this, and around the small corners you could round. So basically that'll put rounded corners on everything. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and go to the offset curve, which is going to be our next tool. Let's trim that. Now the offset curve is a handy little feature. I use that quite a bit. You go ahead and select everything, go to the offset curve, and then you could offset something to your left or outside of the curve area or inside of the curve area. And now you have a shape like this. Okay, so now we're going to select all. Let's hit delete. This next tool, project to sketch, I'm not going to go over that. I don't use that very often. So we'll go up to the next one. The next one is create corner. Now what that tool does is if you have a shape and it needs to be closed, or there's a piece missing from it, you can go ahead and you get that tool, create corner, and then just select the two pieces and you have it, and it closes it. Okay, this next piece here, trim away. This is a handy little feature. I use that quite often. And basically what that does is it allows you to trim away something. Like if you were, if you had overdrawn something, I'll just say like this, we'll go to here. So what you could do with that, as long as the lines are touching, you'll be able to trim away. So you could trim away these shapes here. Okay, so that's going to be that tool. And the next tool I don't use very often, but it's called split curve. And what that does is if you want an opening on something, undo. If you want an opening on something, it lets you create the opening. So let's go ahead and delete that. And we'll draw something that I can show you what that tool does. We'll go ahead and create a square. So basically if you wanted to create an opening in this, you just draw a couple of little clicks and then you have an open area that you can delete. Okay, so that's going to be that tool. So we'll go ahead and delete. Okay, that's the trim away, the split tool. I'm not going to go over this. This tool here creates things with mathematical equations, so I don't use that ever, so we won't go over that. The modes, you're going to always have your sketch mode. That's whenever you're sketching, you're going to be in that mode. Whenever you're selecting something, you're going to be in this mode, and then whenever you're extruding something, you're going to be in this mode. Okay, now we're going to go over these tools here. These are going to be, we'll draw a circle to get started with that. So this is going to be your select. So if you want to click on that and scale it up, size it, you're going to do that one. If you're going to pull it, you're going to use the next one, which is going to be meant for depth, adding depth, or minusing, cutting, or adding. And if you want to move something, you're going to use this next tool. And when you select everything, or an easier way to select is just to come up here in the structure tree and hit select. You're going to be able to move it to the left, move it up, or move it down. You can rotate it. Okay, and this is handy. Okay, so we'll go right into the next tool there. So we're going to have this one. We'll use this one as to discuss the next tools. So we're going to have a copy here. So we're going to go ahead and select that. We're going to do a Control C on the keyboard and Control V. Now we're going to go ahead and move this. So we're going to move that piece there. Go ahead and select it. Grab the blue and move. Then we're going to grab the red. Oh, let's select it again. We're going to grab that red and we're going to rotate it. And then we're going to grab the red and move it. Okay, so now you have a shape like this. So in order to make this a solid, you need to see how it's hollow here in the middle. You'll need to select it and then go to our next tool here, which is fill. Okay, now this is a solid. So and why that's important is because you won't be able to do anything with something you won't be able to extrude something that's not solid. So we're going to go to our next tool here, which is the blend. So in order to use that, all you have to do is select two pieces by holding down the Control key, and then you get a blend down here. And you have an option of blends. You have a ruled segment, which basically is straight, and then you have a rotational blend. I think I'm going to do that. Let's go ahead and go to blend. Well, let's fill this. Go to the blend, and then get these two. Okay, so this one you have, you could change it ruled or rotational blend. Ruled is straight, rotational is round. So just think of it that way. Now what you have to do with the blend tool is if you like the ruled, if you like the blend, you go ahead and click this complete here. Okay, so that's going to be that piece right there. Okay, now we're going to go over the next tool. So we're going to go do a couple of undos. Get back to here. Okay, so our next tool is going to be the combine tool. So what that's going to allow you to do is we'll go ahead and create a square and we'll define it from center, and then we'll click and drag. Okay, we're going to create a 2.75 by 2.75 square, and then we'll go ahead and spin this. We're going to pull it. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and click on that face and hit the plan view. Now we're going to draw another shape in the center here. Okay, now we're going to get our 3-point rectangle. We're going to produce a 1, 2 clicks, 1, 2 clicks. Oops, I undo that to there, and then we're going to drag out. Okay, now we're going to get our trim away that we talked about earlier, and we're going to get rid of these pieces here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and spin this. We're going to move this piece right here. So we're going to select all these little pieces right here. We're going to go to move, and we're going to go to our 3D. Let's get these two pieces. Grab that blue and we're going to move it up. Okay, so now what you want to do is we want to go ahead and select these, and we're going to go to pull, and then we're going to go no merge, and then we're going to pull this down. We're going to pull this down so it's going into the block, maybe about halfway. And then we have no merge on. Now we're going to go combined, and then we're going to combine this shape, and then we're going to click this shape. Not sure this worked. Let's do undo. That didn't actually work, so let's try that again. Okay, it looks like it did work. So we'll go ahead and select that from our structure tree. We'll go to move, and we're going to grab that red. We're going to move it out of the way. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and go up here in the structure tree and grab that. No, it didn't look like it worked. So let's do a couple of undos. Okay, let's get back to here. I'm going to go ahead and move this. Actually, this is... Okay, let's spin that. Let's go ahead and pull. We're going to go no merge on here. Alright, and then we're going to go grab these pieces here. Make sure that no merge is highlighted. And we're going to drag that down into here. Okay, so now you should have... doesn't seem to be working right. Let's trim this out of here. Okay, let's get a piece like this. This is the kind of piece I did last time. It worked fine. Okay, let's move this. Just select all that piece. Go to your 3D mode. Let's get this, just the outline of this. Okay, now you're going to move this. It's not moving. Okay, let's go to our pull. Let's select the no merge. Let's get those. Looks like it's only doing this as the no merge. Let's get back to this. I don't know, for some reason that sometimes this feature works, sometimes it doesn't. So we're going to draw just a simple square in here. Let's go define from center. Yeah, sometimes this works right away and you don't have any problems with it, and other times it's a little iffy. Okay, so we're going to go do a shape like this, and we're going to trim away these pieces. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and spin this. Let's go to pull. Let's get all that, and then go to move. Grab the blue. And let's move it up. Okay, so now you're going to go do this pull. Go to pull. And then go to combined. Well, let's actually move this. So let's go to pull. Let's pull this down so it's in here a little bit. Only before we do that, let's make sure to click on no merge. Go about halfway in there. Then we go to combined. And then we're going to go here, here. Still don't know if this worked. Okay, let's get this solid. Let's go over here, grab the solid. Let's move this. We'll grab our red. For some reason it's not working. I do a couple of undos here. Let's pull this out before we do it. And let's pull this first and then we'll move it. So we'll pull this. Okay, go to there. And then we're going to go no merge. And then let's move this. Grab that blue. No, I want to move it the whole thing. Okay, let's grab the red there. Move it over and move it down. Okay, so let's just do something like this. let's move. We'll grab this red over here, move it in the middle there. Okay, now we're going to do combined. We're going to combine, we're going to click that background, and then we're going to click this area here. And then we're going to go ahead and pull this. Okay, go to no merge. And then we're going to go combined. Looks like it already merged it. Yeah, for some reason this isn't working, so sometimes I have problems with this. Let's go, it looks like it worked here, so let's go ahead and grab this in the structure tree over here. Let's get that, go to move. Let's select this. Let's grab that red arrow, move it over to the right. Then we're going to come up here and select this, and we're going to delete. No, it's not working. Sometimes I have it works, and sometimes it doesn't. You're supposed to be able to basically put this shape here and then have it moved, have it take it out. But it just doesn't seem to be working. I don't want this video to be too long. All right, we're going to do one more attempt at this, and then we're going to just move on to something else. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and select those. Let's go ahead and move. Grab that blue. We're going to go move to here, and then we're going to get these pieces here, and then we're going to do a pull. We'll do no merge, and we'll drag this into here like this. Okay, now you have some extra bodies in there. Let's do combined. This one. This one. Undo. Okay. All right. Let's go to move. Yeah, it seems to be getting rid of my, it's just not working. I don't know what's going on with this thing today. I should just be able to do a combine this with this, and then it should be fine. It should work. But all right, let's see if this worked. Okay, let's go grab that one. Let's move it out of the way. Let's click on this. There we go. Finally we got it. Okay. So anyhow, this is what you're supposed to be able to accomplish with combine. Sorry it took so long. Normally it works the first time, but sometimes it doesn't. I've had multiple times where I've had to do this quite a few times. So basically what you're doing is you're combining this, you're cutting this shape out of this block using the combine feature. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's undo this a few times, get back to here. Just, and we'll go ahead and delete this, go on to our next tool. Delete a solid. To delete a solid off your drawing, you just go right mouse click on it, hit delete. Okay, so that was that's going to be our combine tool. These other ones I won't go over. Split body, split. They're similar to the combine tool. I don't use those that often. So we're going to go ahead and go over a plane, adding a plane. Let's pull this, and then let's go ahead and rotate this. So we'll go to click on it. We'll go to rotate. We're going to add a plane to an angle here. So you're going to create a shape like this. And then you're going to go ahead and click on that face, and then you're going to come up here to plane. Now it puts an angled plane on there. So that's how you would insert a plane. Anywhere that you select, any face that you select, you could go ahead and click and you'll get a plane there. Okay, let's go ahead and undo that. Get back to here. Okay, that's going to be plane. These tools up here are your only two primitives in Design Spark Mechanical. You got a cylinder, so you basically click, drag a line however far you want the primitive to be, and then you draw this wider. Now you got a primitive there. Go to your 3D, you got a primitive or a 3D part. Okay, I'll go ahead and delete that. And the nice thing about this cylinder is if you use the spline tool and you draw a line, maybe you wanted to draw a mouse chord, what you could do is go ahead and select the mouse chord and then go to your primitive. Now you can you can fill this in with a solid. It's a little neat little trick with using the combination of your spline tool and a combination of your primitive. You're going to get that. And so let's undo this a couple times. Get back to there. Okay, we'll go ahead and delete. Okay, so that's your first primitive. Your second primitive is just a circle. So basically it makes a 3D circle. Not really a big deal. Delete. And then now you have your shell tool. We didn't go over that. The shell tool is handy. And if you wanted to create like a bracket shape, you could go ahead and draw a rectangle. You could go ahead and pull this and go to shell, and then you could just click. Every time you click, you're creating your shell in a different area. So now you have a bracket. And if you wanted to keep going, if you only wanted this side to be a bracket, you could click and click again. And now you have a bracket there. So it's pretty handy, the shell command. We'll do a couple of undos, get back to here. The other tool is going to be your file tool. This allows you to import files. Really the only two files you're ever going to probably import into Design Spark Mechanical are going to be a step file or an STL file. Okay, now we're going to go over, let's cancel that. We're going to go over some of the pull options that we have here. So basically your pull options are going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to be pull. You're going to have a pull direction here. Actually, let's go back. This one, you're going to be able to pull. Do a couple of undos. If you draw half a shape, you're going to be able to revolve. Make sure you close off your shape. Go to pull. This is going to be your shape. You're going to use this one instead. This is revolve. You're going to click here, and then you're going to do a full pull. So now you have a revolve shape. Okay. Your next tool, your next revolve tool will be your sweep, and that's going to be if you want to create something. Let's go like this. If you want to create a shape like this, and you get it around the corner, alright, so what you would do is draw a shape that you want to sweep. Then you go over here to your isometric view, and then you go to your 3D mode, and then you select just the end point, get your circle, and then you would click and draw your circle. We're going to go 0.1 circle, and now you're going to, it's going to have do this disappearing thing. This is just what it does. Now you come back to the 3D mode. You're going to select that face there. You're going to go to pull, select pull, and then you're going to come on to this a tool here, which is sweep, and now you're going to click as many times as you need to select all those parts, and then you're going to do full pull. Okay, this is going to be your sweep feature. Alright, so we'll undo that a couple times. And then we're going to get back to here. And one of the other options you have under your pull tab is a scale. So the way you use scale is you'll go ahead and draw a box. Let's just draw this one by one. So we'll be able to do our scale. And then you pull this out to 1. So we'll click and type in 1. So now you have a 1 by 1 square box. So you're going to select it. You're going to go to pull. You're going to come down here to this little icon with all these arrows around it. And then you're going to click on, you have to find a point. Now, you know you've done it right when you have 3 arrows. You have one arrow in the lower right that's pointing, and then you have 2 fatter arrows around the node that you just selected. That's telling you to scale it. So now you can go ahead and click it, and you could scale this up 2. This is a 2 scale, so it's 2 times. And then you're going to scale the other way. This is going to be 0.5. So that's half. So that's going to be half of an inch. And then you come this way, and 2 will be double. So that's how you scale an object in Design Spark Mechanical. We'll do a couple of undos. Get back to here. Those are your options under the pull. So we'll go back over those. So you have extrude, you have revolve, you have sweep, you have scale, and then you have up to. Up to basically just like we did earlier with the points. We can go ahead and put a point out here, and then we can go ahead and pull, and we could say spin this. You could do the same thing here. You'd have to rotate this. Go ahead and click on that, go to move, and we'd have to grab our, what is this going to be, your blue? No, it's going to be green. So we're going to grab our green. And what you could do is you could go ahead and spin this. I think this is on the right. And then say pull. You could click this face, and you could say up to this point there. So now it's going to pull it to this point right there. Okay. So that looks like that's going to be our tools. We went over the orient tools. We went over the sketch tools. We went over the edit tools. It's select, pull, move, fill, and blend. And then we went over combine, although we had a difficult time with that. It does work. Sometimes it works right away. Sometimes you got to do it a couple times. We went over the insert tools, the plane, basically your cylinder and your sphere primitives. We went over shell. We went over file. The only thing we haven't gone over is these tools down here. These are basically just measuring tools. Let's go ahead and click off. So basically this tool here just measures. You can click on a couple of points, and you'll get a measurement. Or you can use your calipers. Your calipers, if you click on any piece, it displays a little box in the lower corner, and it tells you perimeter area. Okay, that's going to end today's tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed watching and you got some useful tips and tricks out of this Design Spark Mechanical tutorial. And thanks again for watching.